Hello and welcome to the Middle School Bookmarkers Super Quick Book Preview Show. This episode, we're checking out 2 Degrees by Alan Gratz. Let's give it a preview and see if you want to read it. The Sierra Nevada, California, Part 1. Red Flag Warning. Dad, look, a wildfire, Akira Christensen cried. She pointed down the mountain trail, where a thin gray wisp of smoke rose from the trees in the valley. Akira's father rode just ahead of her on a black Friesian horse named Elwood. Akira was riding Dodger, her chestnut gelding quarter horse. Dodger had been the first one to sense the fire below, stopping and turning his ears toward the smoke to let Akira know there was trouble. Akira's father pulled to a stop and glanced over his shoulder. A first-generation Norwegian-American, Lars Christensen, looked like a real-life Paul Bunyan, complete with blue jeans, a red plaid shirt, and a bushy brown beard. "Don't worry about it," he told Akira. "I'm sure it's nothing." Akira frowned. She checked the fire conditions before setting out on their ride that morning. The National Weather Service had issued a red flag warning for the Sierra Nevada range today, as they did almost every other day in the fall. A red flag warning meant warm temperatures, dry conditions, and strong winds, which all added up to the possibility of a forest fire. How could smoke in the foothills not be a problem? Akira looked at the ground, where brittle leaves and pine needles were ready and waiting to burn. "Shouldn't we at least let Cal Fire know?" she asked. "A little fire is good for a forest," her dad told her. "It gets rid of all the dry stuff before too much of it builds up and burns out of control." "Yeah, but it seems like there aren't any little fires anymore," Akira thought. Not since the temperature of the earth had risen nearly 2 degrees, and the hotter air and longer droughts had sucked the moisture out of everything, making California a tinderbox. Now, almost every fire was a mega fire that burned up half the state. And it was all thanks to human-caused climate change. Akira had learned about it in school last year, and it had scared her. But when she'd come home and told her family what she'd learned, her dad said the same thing then that he said now. Nature can take care of itself. That'll wrap up the passage preview. Let's take a look at some reviews. On Amazon, this book has a 5 out of 5 stars, and on Common Sense Media, it also has a 5 out of 5 stars, and they rate it as appropriate for ages 9+. And here comes the back of the book preview blurb. But first, if you're enjoying this book preview, and if it's helping you figure out if you want to read this book or not, would you mind hitting like and subscribe? It'll help me grow the channel. 2 Degrees. Fire, Flood, Ice. In the Sierra Nevada mountains of California, Akira and her horse struggle to escape a massive wildfire. In Churchill, Manitoba, Owen and George flee starving polar bears that have been stranded on land by melting sea ice. In Miami, Florida, Natalie fights to keep her head above water and save her neighbor's dog as her city drowns in a hurricane. Though they live thousands of miles from each other and face disparate challenges, Akira, Owen, George, and Natalie will come to understand they are more deeply connected than they could have ever imagined, and in ways that will change them and possibly the world. 4 different kids, 3 different threats, 2 degrees of temperature rise, 1 single cause, climate change. 2 Degrees by Alan Gratz is an adventure book. It's about natural disasters and is very much about climate change. The page length is 384, and the audiobook is 8 hours and 58 minutes. All right, let's wrap this baby up. Moment of truth, is this book for you? If not, you can check out the Middle School Bookmarkers YouTube page for a bunch of other book previews to find you something that you want to read. And we also have some read-alongs and some watch-alongs. Check it out, and I hope you find something that you want to read.